This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Donald Trump, as we know, needs to come before this committee.
Eventually, we'll have to have conversations about more than just the nuclear program.
We're getting back in the business of launching moon rockets with great frequency.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. The words of former President Bill Clinton ahead of his closed-door deposition today in the House Oversight Committee's Jeffrey Epstein probe. While we'll have to wait for video of the Clinton's depositions to be released, Committee Chair James Comer did say this a while ago.
The President went on to say that the President, Trump, has never said anything to me to make me think he was involved, and he meant with Epstein.
But, says Florida Democrat Maxwell Frost,
Donald Trump, as we know, needs to come before this committee. He's been caught in multiple lies as it relates to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I've seen unredacted files myself that directly refute his assertion that he kicked out Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago.
At last report, Bill Clinton's deposition was still going several hours in. How close to conflict? No shortage of signs that the U.S. is close to pulling the trigger on military action against Iran. Vice President J.D. Vance with perhaps a last-ditch White House meeting today with Oman's foreign minister. Fox's Jillian Turner.
This comes after Vance told the Washington Post overnight the Trump team has no intention of engaging in a prolonged war with Iran.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says while the focus has been on Iranian nuclear weapon plans, that's far from all that's on the table here.
Eventually, we'll have to have conversations about more than just the nuclear program.
Ballistic missiles in particular. Rubio plans to visit Israel next week. Retired General Jack Keane tells Fox the Iranian regime has never been more vulnerable.
Weaker than they've ever been in the 46-year history of the regime. That gives us an opportunity to put in place a comprehensive joint operation with Israel.
Today, the U.S. is urging non-emergency embassy staff in Jerusalem to leave Israel ASAP. NASA says there will be a course correction to its Artemis program that adds missions and will increase the pace of launches now as they aim to land on the moon in 2028.
We're getting back in the business of launching moon rockets with great frequency. Now we got to up the ante. We got to increase our cadence. We're not launching moon rockets every 3 years after today. We're going to start launching them every single year.
NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman, an American citizen, was one of 4 people killed when Cuban forces opened fire on a Florida-registered speedboat off the coast this week. Secretary of State Rubio says the U.S. is still looking into it. NBC's Jose Diaz-Balart reports families of those either killed or detained in the incident are pleading for clarity and justice.
Among them, Conrado Galindo Sariol, his wife and daughter, speaking to Telemundo. He wasn't a terrorist, nor has he ever held a weapon, his wife Ana says.
6 others aboard the vessel were injured and detained, including another American, leading to increased tension between Cuba and the U.S. Cuba claims the people in question were trying to carry out an infiltration for terroristic purposes. NBC News reports 2 sources close to one of the detained men says at least some of the people aboard the boat are affiliated with an anti-Castro group. Some business news for you next. A national pizza chain will soon have a smaller slice of the market pie. Papa John's is shrinking.
Approximately 300 restaurants will close by the end of 2027, and about 200 of them will shut their doors this year. In addition to the closures, the company cut about 7% of its roughly 700-person corporate workforce.
Mark Mayfield, Papa John's had a rough fourth quarter, posting a decline of over 5% in North American sales. In Chicago, memorial services continuing today for the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, laying in repose at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters in Chicago. His body will be then transported to South Carolina and Washington, D.C. for more memorial services. Jesse Jackson Jr. says all will be welcome at those memorials, regardless of their politics.
Because his life is broad enough to cover the full spectrum of what it means to be an American.
The civil rights icon died last week at the age of 84. The Muslim call to prayer can now be heard echoing around the skyscrapers of New York City ever since the election of Zohran Mamdani. Muslims are defending the broadcast as the right of religious freedom and cultural identity, but former Muslim and author Danny Bermawi says blasting that call in public places is actually a power move.
It has nothing to do with freedom of religion. It is
projecting dominance.
One New Yorker, Amy Meck, posted on social media, Zohran Mamdani's Sharia Dawn is here. Muslims are also building mosques across America at the fastest rate in history, including 50 new mosques in Dallas-Fort Worth alone. Finally, it's fair to say that air travel has become a very informal affair when it comes to passengers' apparel. But lighten up, Tampa travelers, the airport was just kidding. In a satirical social media post, Florida's Tampa International Airport announced a plan to ban Crocs and pajamas at the airport, saying, quote, "We've seen enough. We've had enough. Help Tampa International Airport become the world's first Crocs-free and pajama-free airport." The post raised a social media backlash by some, though support from others, but airport officials later issued a statement clarifying that they were just kidding. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's Capital Connection.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. For tonight, we start with starlight, moonlight, clouds gather, low temps, mid-20s to low 30s. Tomorrow, partly sunny in central and eastern Pennsylvania, mostly cloudy elsewhere. A rain or snow shower in parts of western and central New York, high temps 40s. Temperatures drop late in western areas. Much colder than tomorrow night and Sunday with occasional snow and flurries. High temperatures Sunday, mostly in the 20s.
Thank you, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Questions about an immigrant's death in Buffalo. Nurul Amin Shah Alam was reported missing earlier this week and found dead in Buffalo on Wednesday. The city says Shah Alam, while being released by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, was left alone on a cold winter night with no known attempt to leave him in a safe, secure location, despite being nearly blind and unable to speak English. Alexandre Burgos is a local activist.
A man who was seeking to be reunited with his family lost his life in our community.
Says this family friend.
The family is requesting justice. We do not want his death to just go to waste. We want his death to bring awareness.
The state attorney general's office says it's looking into the circumstances surrounding the immigrant's death. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro unable to fend off questions about costly security upgrades to his private home during a press conference about ICE detention centers yesterday. Republicans have questioned the $1 million worth of upgrades to Shapiro's private residence after the arson attack last year at the governor's mansion. That's a different location. Shapiro's response?
No parent wants to have to explain to their kid, we have a safe room in our house now because there are people who want to try to kill us.
Shapiro calls it low level to question security costs for his family.
This is what Republicans want to do now? Make it harder for my family to be safe? I think that speaks volumes about their lack of character.
Republicans say taxpayers are footing the bill for upgrades to Shapiro's private residence, which has never happened in the history of Pennsylvania governors. A nonprofit organization hosting a bowling tournament to raise money for that church leveled to the ground in Boonville, New York, in a propane blast. We get that story from Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
Local nonprofit Believe 271 will be donating all proceeds from its annual bowling tournament to help the Boonville firefighters and pastor who were injured by the recent explosion at Abundant Life Church. The church sustained catastrophic damage. 3 of the 5 hurt in the blast have been discharged, but 2 remain hospitalized in critical condition. The tournament will be held March 14th and 15th at Boonville Bolorama Bowling Alley. Every dollar raised goes to the church. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Damage from ice dams causing some headaches for homeowners. As the snow melts from roofs, it can cause water to leak into walls and ceilings. That's what happened to Lisa Poente's home in Webster, New York. She tells WHAM.
A lot of people don't expect the type of damage that it can cause. So it's really stressful and it's been pretty crazy. Definitely looking forward to summer.
Oh, so you hear that. Zach Brown with ServPro says ice dams are a common problem right now.
Right now we have over 100 ice damming calls, either currently ongoing or we're planning on getting to. It's been nonstop this year with the weather, so it's been crazy.
Well, the cold temperatures New York has been having could also impact the maple syrup industry, especially if we wind up with a sudden spring warm-up. Randy Grippin owns Mountain Winds Farms in upstate New York and tells Spectrum News.
If we could have 8-10 weeks of 40 degrees in the afternoon and 20 degrees at night, then you have a great maple season.
The trees will stay dormant with the temperatures we have right now, but Grippin's worried about a sudden warm-up that could end the season.
If we get to like we've had in the last few years, where all of a sudden here in another week or two it decides to be 60, 70 degrees for 4 or 5 days in a row, you have the potential of the trees budding and then the season's over already.
He says, bottom line, the length of the season's all up to the good Lord.
You have no idea. We always expect a good season. But again, it's up to the weather.
New York is the second largest maple syrup producer in the country. The season usually starts in February, runs through early April. Up next, highlights from today's Capital Connection.
This is Capital Connection. Fridays during the Noon Report, we give you direct connection to all that's happening in Albany and Harrisburg with the experts on the issues at the state capitals. They are this week Stephen Hayford with New York Families and Michael Gear at the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Stephen, filling in for our dear friend Jason McGuire, who's currently undergoing cancer treatment in Mexico. Our thoughts and prayers are with him, Loren, and their 3 children at this time. Steve, thanks for being here today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bob. Happy to be here.
Hey, let's begin, though, with Michael in Harrisburg. The one name not on the ballot this midterm election year is the one name who will influence the elections the most, and that is the president, Donald Trump. I wonder, are Republicans in Pennsylvania right to be worried that he might be a drag in statewide and some of those down-ballot contests?
Well, he's sometimes a boost, sometimes a drag. It really depends on which region of Pennsylvania you're talking about. If you're looking at the suburbs in the Philadelphia area and to some degree the Pittsburgh area as well, you're going to see him more as a drag. But there are parts of Pennsylvania that when President Trump campaigns, whether he's running for president or in this case in the midterms where he's planning to campaign for congressional candidates and others, he can be a boost in some of those areas. But I think it will be a regional sort of thing here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And then there's the question, do the MAGA Republicans even show up at the ballot box November 3rd since he's not on the ballot? It's interesting discussion there. Stephen, Governor Hochul has made President Trump the centerpiece of her reelection effort. Listening to her speak, you'd think she's running against Donald Trump and not Bruce Blakeman. How concerned are Republicans in New York State about the Trump effect in this year's midterms?
Well, Bob, I think there is cause for some concern. A Siena poll from earlier this month shows 63% unfavorable rating for President Trump. On the other hand, President Trump has a 77% favorability rating from Republican New Yorkers. So what I think that means is Bruce Blakeman and other congressional candidates, they're going to need to perform well with Trump supporters and be able to appeal to independents and moderate Democrats. And it's a challenging situation to navigate.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about assisted suicide. Michael, public support for this has grown from less than 40% in 1950 to over 65% today. That's according to Gallup. Oregon, of course, was the first state to go down this road in the 1990s. Today, there are 13 states, including New York, that permit this practice. Like with the abortion issue, what can pro-lifers do to make physician-assisted suicide not just illegal, but unthinkable?
Well, we have to, number one, I think, educate the public about the excesses that are coming with it. When we look at jurisdictions like Canada that have legalized it, we see initial strict guidelines, but they quickly expand from terminal patients to then people with mental illness or depression or even young people ending up coerced into suicide. Then we have to talk about the mercy, the care that can come, the compassion that can come for people with palliative and hospice care. And then lastly, I think as Christians, we need to talk about the fact that life is a sacred gift, that we're made in his image, God alone numbers our days, and that we're called to choose life.
Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Highlights from today's Capital Connection. And that's only some of what they covered today. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
What if being rich has nothing to do with money? Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. Scripture reminds us that wealth isn't measured by what we own, but by who we trust. Proverbs tells us the blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. That kind of richness can't be tracked on a balance sheet. You can feel rich without money when your needs are met, your heart is at peace, and your hope is secure. Contentment grows when we stop asking, how much more do I need? And start asking, what has God already provided? When our security rests in God rather than possessions, generosity replaces anxiety and joy replaces comparison. True wealth isn't found in accumulation, but in freedom, the freedom to trust, to give, and to rest. Manage your finances wisely with the easy-to-use FaithFi app. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store, or learn more at faithfi.com.
Thank you, sir. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, when a retired police officer needed help, it was man's best friend to the rescue. First, weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Moderate temperatures and some sunshine making today a pleasant day. We'll have a moderate night tonight with temperatures that will be spending much of the time at or above 30 degrees. We'll be back in the 40s tomorrow, but a front could deliver a rain or snow shower. That front will certainly deliver colder air and some snow tomorrow night into Sunday. For tonight, we start with starlight, moonlight, clouds gather, low temps mid-20s to low 30s. Tomorrow, partly sunny in central and eastern Pennsylvania, mostly cloudy elsewhere. A rain or snow shower in parts of western and central New York, high temps 40s. Temperatures drop late in western areas. Much colder than tomorrow night and Sunday with occasional snow and flurries. High temperatures Sunday, mostly in the 20s.
Thank you, Kevin. Finally at 5, 89-year-old Mickey McKinney is a retired Ontario, Canada police officer. He spent decades helping others, but recently it was Mickey who needed help when he fell on the ice and couldn't get up. Telling CTV.
Eventually, I started getting worried. I have one of these, a helpline, but it was in my pocket and I forgot completely about it. Anyways, to the last resort, I started yelling for help.
And his pleas were heard by the next-door neighbor's rescue dog, Rosa, who got the attention of her owner, Linda Gilchrist.
She went to the front door and she barked, which was unusual. I mean, there was nobody there. As soon as we got outside, I heard a call for help.
They got Mickey the help he needed, and Mickey made sure to thank Linda and Rosa when he got back home.
I brought her some cookies the next day. Yeah, she's a lifesaver. I think so anyways.
Adds Linda.
I'm just totally amazed and very proud of her and shocked that she did all that and saved Mickey.
Mickey says after 30 years of police work, it was the first time he found himself on the other end of an emergency. It was likely Rosa the rescue's first rescue, too. And that's the world we live in for Friday, February 27th, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. Have a blessed weekend. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.